Welcome to the Cristo Rey College Fair. We have some fantastic schools here with us today. My name is Danielle and I will be your facilitator. Before we get started, a few things that I want to share with you. We're going to start with a video from Cristo Rey Network.
Welcome to the first ever Cristo Rey Network Virtual College Fair. We congratulate you, students and parents, for taking the next step in preparing for college by attending today. We're so glad you're here, and we're glad Father John Foley is here as well.
Thank you, Elizabeth. It is indeed a privilege and a blessing to be able to collaborate in this first ever event for the Cristo Rey Network, the Cristo Rey Network schools. You know, all of us, students, teachers, parents, all of us were born with certain gifts, and we go through life trying to make those gifts contribute even more to the world we live in. This world is our responsibility. God entrusted this world to us, and it's up to us to make the best of what God has given us. And that's what education is all about. It's about taking what the gifts that God has given us, the virtues that God has implanted in our souls, and making them as effective as they can be. So education is a way of making my contribution to the world even better.
Thank you, Father Foley. So students, today your community surrounds you. With over 23,000 alumni nationwide and 37 high schools in 24 states, currently 12,000 students, and 5,000 of those students are juniors and seniors, just like you. We're joined by 115 participating colleges. These colleges are ready to invest in your future. Some of these colleges have been partnering with us for over a decade. You'll have the opportunity, students and parents, to attend a Financial Aid 101 session offered in either English or in Spanish. If you don't attend every session, don't worry, it'll be available on YouTube, so you won't miss anything. Don't forget about the Ask Me About session. This is your opportunity to ask any question you want and to leave confident that you came and feel empowered to start your college journey. We thank you all for your commitment to your future, classes of 2022 and 2023, and your parents and guardians, students, college counselors, and college representatives. Thank you all for being here.
Como una última palabra, le pedimos al Señor que bendiga a todos los que están envueltos en este esfuerzo de familiarizarnos mejor con el mundo académico de la universidad. Que el Señor bendiga la buena voluntad el deseo de todos para mejorar este mundo y para mejorar las vidas de los que nos rodean. Que el Señor bendiga esta gran familia Cristo Rey.
Wonderful. I am glad that you all are here tonight for the Cristo Rey College Fair. I want to bring a few things to your attention as you are preparing to enjoy the fair. Your camera and microphone are off, so the presenters would not be able to see or hear you throughout the presentation. You are able to ask questions using the Q&A feature on your screen. Presenters will be able to respond throughout the presentation this evening. I want to also encourage you to sign up for more sessions for the rest of this evening as well as this weekend. Finally, there will be a recording available at strivescan.com/Cristo Rey for all who want to enjoy the presentation after. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to our next presenter, Hamilton College.
Thank you so much, Danielle. My name is Joanne Pluff. I am one of the admission officers at Hamilton. I'm going to take a couple minutes and just share with you some information about our college. So Just some straight facts. So we're located in central New York. Typically, when we say we're from New York, most people think New York City, but we're right in the middle of New York State. Let me just share my screen. Close to the towns of Syracuse and Albany. So we have about 1,300 acres on our campus, and we offer all bachelor's degrees. So students on our campus aren't competing for research opportunities with doctoral candidates or master's candidates. So a lot of access directly to research. The student to faculty ratio is 9-to-1. So as a student, know that if you are looking for a professor, you'll be able to find them. Stories are pretty typical of our students that the faculty will give them their cell phone numbers as well as their personal emails in case of emergency, of course. But know that around a big exam or if something big is coming up, the faculty will be there to support you as a student. Within those classes, one of the biggest things on our campus is that we have what's called an open curriculum. So an open curriculum for us means that as a first year student, those first couple of years, know that they're exploratory years. So you can take the first 3 semesters to really figure out what it is you love to do. So if you really enjoy economics, know that you can take all the economics classes that you want. If you're looking to get fully immersed in a language and you would like to learn one, we have quite a few. Know that you can take as many language courses as you would love. We have over 50 areas of study. And as a student, you're applying to be a part of our community and not directly to an academic area. We do that because we want to make sure that you do want to be here and that you find both the social and academic fulfillment within our programs. Just over 50% of our students study abroad, and we have over 100 different study abroad opportunities. There are 3 specific language immersion programs in Beijing, Paris, and Madrid. But outside of that, know that there are so many that students can choose from. Typically, if you've got your heart set on a specific program that Hamilton does not have an agreement with, know that you can work with the registrar so that you can gain course credit for the courses that you end up taking abroad. Some of our abroad opportunities do have an internship opportunity. So if you're looking to get experiential learning while away, know that you can do that. 97% of our students report that they're gainfully employed, or they have a fellowship, or they're participated in graduate schools. We have quite a few students that go on to get an MBA as well as a master's in a bunch of different fields. The newest program for academic advisement on our campus is called the ALEX program. So it's Advise, Learn, and Experiential Learning. So your ALEX advisor is your first contact here on campus on the Hill. So that person is working with you to determine your courses, but also when it comes to sophomore year and you're ready to start doing an internship, they're the connector between advising and academics and your experiential learning. 3 or 4 years, you get a major advisor, your ALEX advisor, and a career advisor. That umbrella of the ALEX program really does encompass everything. So if you're ready for your internship, your ALEX advisor can assist you and put you in touch with the right person. Or if you just need some assistance with perhaps writing skills or public speaking, your ALEX advisor can do that. There are a couple of requirements within our open curriculum. So one of the big things on our campus is writing. So our students are required to take 3 writing intensive courses as well as 1 quantitative and symbolic course. So if you're like me, I didn't typically really understand STEM courses. I loved them, but it just wasn't for me. It wasn't clicking. Know that you can find a quantitative and symbolic course within the chemistry field. But in addition, philosophy counts as a quantitative and symbolic course. We also have a very popular French course that involves food that counts as a quantitative and symbolic course. The writing courses can be found in about 23% of our courses. So again, if STEM is really your field, know that quite a few of those courses count towards that. On our campus, we have the 100% residential requirement. So all students live on the Hill for all 4 years. There are 29 different styles of living. So you can have a different experience from year 1 to year 4. My favorite building to talk about is the co-op. Those students are actually making all of their meals. They have 2 meals that they cook together. But if you're a co-op student, you're responsible for cooking your own food. Our claim to fame and faculty and staff, we do cultivate a garden for the students, and it's harvesting right now. So we're happy to provide for them some fresh to eat options. We have about 200 clubs and organizations on campus. So you are able to access almost every single thing you might be looking for. And if you can't find a club, know that you just need 5 friends and an advisor, and you can charter a club. We participate in the NESCAC League for our varsity athletics, and we're Division III. So there are 27 different varsity sports. If you're particularly interested in a sport, I recommend reaching out directly to that sport to figure out if you can be recruited. Hamilton, regarding financial aid and just the admission process. So we are need blind. So when I sit down to read an application, I have no idea how much your family can afford to pay for you to go to college. And we also will meet 100% of your demonstrated need. So at Hamilton, our alums are in the top 1% for giving. And that's because they give back to the campus, and typically their funds are going directly to fund our students and their financial aid on campus. So if your family has $5,000 to pay for school, know that that's how much you'll pay. We require the CSS profile as well as the FAFSA so we can get a broader view of your family's financials. For selection, we do what's called a holistic review. So we'll take a look at every single thing that you submit to us. And we're looking at both your academic and personal factors. We know that COVID will for sure affect some of your extracurriculars, but we respect and understand that sometimes in some of these pandemic situations, perhaps you were caring for an older family member, or perhaps you were driving or walking your brother or sister to an after-school program. That counts for us, and we want to make sure that you get credit. For the next 2 years, Hamilton is test optional. We're not requiring the SATs or ACTs. If you choose to submit them, I recommend looking at our class of 2025 profile, and that will help you determine if you should submit your scores or not. We also have, we accept the Common App, the Coalition app, and the QuestBridge application. It doesn't matter to us which application you submit, but know that we will take a view at, like I said, every single thing that you submit. And that's all for me.
Wonderful, thank you so much. We will now hear from our next university, the University of Virginia.
Thank you, Danielle. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. I'm so happy that you all are here. My name is Chelsea Duncan, though most people call me Cece. My pronouns are she, her, and I am one of the Associate Deans of Admission. I also serve as our Director of Diversity, Inclusion, and Outreach at the University of Virginia. I'm also very proud to share with you that I am what we consider a double who. I went to UVA for my undergraduate degree and also for my master's degree. So I am so happy to be here with you today as an alumna and also as someone who works in admissions. Just to share with you a little bit about who we are here at UVA. We are a medium-sized public research institution located in Charlottesville, Virginia. So for those of you who may not know where Charlottesville, Virginia is located, we are centrally located in the eastern foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. So it's about 2 hours from Washington, DC, about an hour from Richmond, Virginia, and about 2.5, 3 hours from Virginia Beach. Now, one thing that you should know about us is that we were the first institution to be built around a library and not a religious building. And we are that way because our founder believed that it takes a village to raise a college student, right? He believed that college should be a village and not necessarily one building. I'm also very honest and upfront with people to say that our founder was Thomas Jefferson. He founded us in 1819. And with that comes a very complex and complicated history. He was a very complex man, and we do recognize him as our founder, but he also had a lot of things that we don't necessarily agree with now as a university. And so if you were here on grounds, I would also do a land and labor acknowledgement, which I will do now. We do want to acknowledge the free and enslaved laborers that built the university. Without them, there would be no UVA, there would be no University of Virginia. And we also want to acknowledge the Monacan people on which the University of Virginia is founded and created. So also, just want to acknowledge a little bit about our history and who we are. I'm going to share my screen. Just give me 1 second to do that. And just so you all can see a little bit about who we are, as I mentioned, we are a public institution with around 18,000 undergraduate students. Now, because we are a public school, that means about 2/3 of our student population comes from Virginia, 1/3 come from all around the US and all around the world. You can see our percentages there. Now you can also see that even though we like to say a medium to large size institution, I want you to know that you will not just be a number on our campus or on grounds, as we like to say here. You can see that our student faculty ratio is just about 14:1. About 50% of our classes are 20 or fewer, right? So that may be a little bit more similar to what you're used to in high school. Over 80% of our classes are going to be 50 or fewer. And you can see some of our stats and our rankings here. But I always like to say that those statistics and those rankings don't tell the whole story. And I think we have such high ratings and high graduation ranks because there are lots of support services and resources to support our students. As I mentioned, we have grown, we have progressed, we have become a lot more diverse, with about 35% of our students coming from diverse backgrounds, about 5 or 6% international students. That means we have students here from all walks of life who identify in many different ways, and we have many offices that support those students. We have an Office of African American Affairs. We have our Multicultural Student Services, our Latinx Student Center, our LGBTQ+ Student Center, our Interfaith Center, our Career Center, our Student Center for Disability and Accommodations. So no matter who you are, no matter how you identify, I want you to know that you can call UVA home and we are going to help you every step of the way. You can have a peer mentor here. Tutoring is included within your tuition fees. If you need help writing a paper, we have a writing center. I just found out the other day we have a new speaking center here at UVA. So if you need help with your presentations, I want you to know that you can get that assistance. Now, let's talk a little bit about what is student life here like at UVA? One thing you should know about us is that we are all about student self-governance. And what that means is we have flipped the leadership on its head a little bit here at UVA. Maybe where you are going to school at now, the principal or the dean or the leader is in charge and kind of makes those decisions and make those rules. At UVA, it's actually a little bit different. We have over 800 student-run clubs and organizations, and that means our students are at every level and rung of leadership, and they are actually the ones speaking with the president, speaking with the board, helping to make decisions about the university and what student life is going to be like here at UVA. So if you were someone who is interested in leadership, having your voice be heard, social justice, you might find yourself to be a very good fit for UVA. You can see that we are really, really into hands-on experience. About 70% of students conduct an internship here. About 2/3 of our students engage in research every year. And I know sometimes when you hear the term research, you might automatically think of someone in a white lab coat doing some biology or chemistry research. And I want you to know we have those opportunities, but I want you to think about it a little bit differently and just digging a little bit deeper into the topic or subject or major. So that could be the arts, that could be theater, that could be anthropology, that could be psychology, that could be leadership. We want you to know that we have opportunities for you, many of them here for you to get involved and delve a little bit deeper into what you want to do. Talking a little bit about our admission statistics, we are a competitive and selective institution, but certainly not impossible. And that's why I'm here to help you. Just last year, we received about 48,000 applications. We admitted around 10,000 students for an incoming class of about 4,000 students. You can see our in-state and out-of-state off rates do change a bit just because, as I mentioned, we're a public university and most of our students will come from Virginia. Now, what we are going to be looking at and what we pay the most close attention to are going to be your transcript, your academics, what you've done in high school. We want to see that you've challenged yourself and you've done really well. But guess what? That does not tell your whole entire story, right? We do a holistic admissions review to see who you are, where you come from, what's your background, what kind of school did you go to, what extracurriculars have you done? Have you had to work? Have you babysat after school? Have you been a part of that volunteer organization? Or have you joined the band? Or have you done a sport? Doesn't matter to us which one it is. We just want to see that you're active and doing something. With that will also come your essays and your letters of recommendation. I will mention that we are a QuestBridge school, so we accept the QuestBridge application. We also accept the Common application, and we are a POSSE affiliated school. So if you are in that area and are nominated, just know that that is an opportunity for you as well. I'll talk quickly about our places where you can apply into. College of Arts and Sciences, our biggest school, School of Engineering and Applied Sciences, where we have 10 undergraduate majors. We have our School of Architecture, where we have a pre-professional track and a design thinking track. Our School of Nursing, interested in becoming a registered nurse, you'll get a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. We also have a kinesiology program. And those are all of the options that you can apply to directly out of high school. Then you can see our upper division options if you're interested in business, education, leadership, public policy, and data science. Those might be options for you. I'll stop sharing my screen now and wrap up and just say, thanks again for being here. One thing I will say, as you are looking at schools, just know that here at UVA, we are committed to making UVA as affordable for you and your family as possible. What that means is, one, we are need blind. We don't know anything about your finances when you are applying. We also are guaranteed to meet 100% of your demonstrated need. There are in-state and out-of-state students who are coming to UVA who are getting full rides, and we are here and happy to assist you. And I will put my email in the chat. Thanks so much for being here, y'all.
Thank you so much to the University of Virginia. We're now going to move on to our third presenter, and that's Franklin and Marshall College. Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle. My name is Brenda, everyone. Welcome. I am just going to share my screen, so just bear with me. Just a second. Okay, hopefully you all can see that. Again, so welcome everyone. My name is Brenda. I am one of the admission representatives for Franklin and Marshall College. I am also an alumna of the college. I'm originally from Southern California, but I did go and attend Franklin and Marshall, which is actually located in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which is about an hour from Philly, about 2 hours and a half maybe from New York City. But I did attend FNM. I graduated with an economics and psychology joint major, and we can talk a little bit about what that means a little bit throughout my presentation. But again, very happy to be with you all this evening. So here are just some quick, fast facts about Franklin and Marshall. We are a small liberal arts school. We do have a little bit over 2,400 students on campus. We are a truly diverse campus community. We have students from 51 different countries, 47 different states. About 20% of them are domestic students of color. About 20% of them are international students. We do have our students housed on campus for all 4 years. You do have the option to have off-campus housing as well, but we have like a Harry Potter style college house distribution. So our students really enjoy that. They have a supportive community right from when they start campus. We do have 60 areas of study. And so our students can see a list of our majors that are offered online. We have over 100 clubs and organizations on campus. I would say that our students are very involved on campus in like 3 to 5 different extracurricular activities, whether it's community service, whether it's an arts club or what you name it. You'll find all sorts of clubs and organizations on campus, and you can also create your own club on campus. We have over 20 different athletics programs and varsity sports. We are a D3 school, so if you choose to join our sports and community, it's very easy to walk on to a team. For myself, I actually walked on the rowing team, for example, so it's very easily accessible to do. But we do want to keep in mind that you are a student athlete, so your academics do come first at FNM. As far as our community-oriented, I would say that FNM is very much community-oriented campus. We have, as you see there, we're one family, one FNMly, as we call it. I know it's really cheesy, as we say, but it's truly what we see ourselves as. Our games are very well attended by students, faculty, staff. We have such a supportive community on campus. You will know your classmates would be the ones on the teams, your roommates, you name it. Our professors are truly accessible to you all, which leads me to how our average class size is about 17 students. And so given that liberal arts education that I mentioned earlier, we really want to encourage our students to create that path for their education. So this can be done in very different ways. One of them being, by the way, that we declare our majors. So we offer flexible options for our students to really study their interests. So they can declare a traditional major, a traditional double major. They can do something called a joint major, which is essentially taking a little bit fewer classes and having a double major. And it doesn't have to be within one discipline. You can have like neuroscience and film and media studies. So for example, I did an economics and psychology joint major. It doesn't have to be within one discipline. So this is a really good opportunity for those students who can't decide exactly what it is that they want to study. And then you also have the option of doing something called the special studies major. And so this is for students who are interested in doing 3 different areas of study into one, and you will be given 3 different advisors to help with that creation of that major. And then another way to really personalize your education is you can always combine a minor to any one of these majors. So you really have that truly personalized education. So you are the driver of your time here, and the advisors are just here to help guide you through your time. You don't declare your major till the 2nd semester of your sophomore year, so you'll have 3 semesters to really explore what it is that you like to study. And then 80% of our classes are definitely discussion based. So you definitely would be prepared for your class to be an active member of your class and really learning from other students, not just your professors. We have a 9:1 student to faculty ratio. We have an interdisciplinary curriculum. In research, I would definitely say that research is a very big deal here at Franklin and Marshall College. About 65% of our students do conduct some sort of research. Our students really enjoy doing research and an undergraduate level mentorship experience, done such at a graduate level. So I think our students really enjoy that. About 40% of them are co-authored or co-published by the time that they graduate. And it's really a reward. Then I'll talk a little bit about our Office of Student Graduate Development. And I know that's a mouthful, but we have shortened it to OSPGOD. And this is really just that, FNM is not here just for 4 years, it's definitely for life. And so this office is the one that helps with an advisor to help prepare you for anything life after college, whether there's internships, your interviews, or anything like that. That's what this office is here to do. We have a lot of our students intern at, just downtown Lancaster, which is only about a 15-minute walk from campus. We also have shuttles there or bikes, you can do that. And then we also have students intern in Philly, in Baltimore, New York, and Washington, D.C., because these are all really accessible and only a train ride away from campus. But this does also house our pre-law, pre-health, STEM, and specific advisors to make sure that you're on track for taking that competitive curriculum to pursue that higher education or experience that you are looking for. Again, we're definitely very much engaged within the Lancaster community. Where there's the local businesses or nonprofits or schools, they're all looking out for FNM students to help them out with anything that students want to be a part of and be involved in. And then another thing I want to make sure I mention is study abroad. Study abroad is a huge deal at FNM. About 55% of our students do conduct some sort of study abroad experience, and we like to say study off campus, because we also encompass studying off campus within a national organization as well. So you can do either national or international, up to you. For me, I was able to study abroad twice off. One summer was in Italy with FNM professors, and then a semester fully abroad in Australia. So this is such a great opportunity for you to take advantage of. And then we're a little bit about our application process. So we do have a holistic approach. We're all on the Common App, on the Coalition app. We have been a test optional school for a very long time, so this is really up to you and whether you want to submit your scores or not. We are truly have been test optional for a very long time, so this is not something that's new to us. We do highly recommend interviews. And this is just an opportunity for you to get to know us, but for us to also get to know you. It's really just a conversation, nothing to be too concerned about. And then we also have 2 rounds of early decision if FNM is really your number 1 choice, because this isn't binding decision. But to us, you're more than just a number. We really want to know you and your story and what you have done in and outside of school. So don't be discouraged by anything like this. And then I did want to touch a little bit about our financial aid. We're a 100% need-based net institution. We don't offer any merit-based aid. But we do offer 100% need-based aid. So that's all I have for you all today. And then I do have my email there for any questions that might come along. Thank you all.
All right, thank you so much, Franklin and Marshall College. We now want to move on to our last presenter of the evening, and that is Wesleyan University.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks so much for having me. My name is Taylor. I'm one of the admission deans here at Wesleyan University. I do not have a PowerPoint, so you're just going to have to look at my face for the whole time, for better or for worse. Just to give you some of the basics, we are a small liberal arts university located in Middletown, Connecticut. So Connecticut's like a small rectangle, and we're smack dab in the center of it, about 2 hours away from Boston and 2 hours away from New York. So what I'd like to do is give you just my top 5 highlights of Wesleyan, and then talk a bit about admission and financial aid. Number 1 is that, like Hamilton, we have an open curriculum here at Wesleyan. We have a very interdisciplinary philosophy here. So when you apply to Wesleyan, you're not applying to a specific school or program or major or college within the university or anything like that. So you're going to see a lot of students here who are double majoring and double minoring in subjects that you might think of as being related, and sometimes subjects that you don't think of as being related. So you will see physics and theater double majors here. You will see students starting out as history and ending as chemistry. The students here are really taught how to cross-train their brains here, being able to draw connections between different ideas and different subjects, because that's what's going to keep you nimble and on your feet throughout your career, since you'll probably be retiring from the workforce somewhere around the year 2070, which is just a really long time from now. And so being able to take transferable skills from whatever it is that you're studying and being able to approach problems from different perspectives is really important to us. And having an open curriculum is an important component of that. So we don't have any general education requirements or distribution requirements or any core set of courses that all students need to take. So that's something that you're going to see at Wesleyan that's very central to what makes Wesleyan who we are. And it's also important because you're going to be in classes where that are very discussion oriented. And so it's important to us that you're never going to be in a class where students are only there because they have to be there, right? So everyone who is in your class is there because they're really interested in whatever the subject matter is. So that's number 1. Number 2, Wesleyan occupies a really unique niche within the liberal arts college universe, because on one hand, culturally speaking, we very much operate as a small liberal arts college. And what I mean by that is, we're very community oriented. Everyone's living on campus for all 4 years. It's both guaranteed and required for housing. Students are very much engaged in 250 plus clubs and organizations here, very plugged into the town of Middletown. And we're also very much undergraduate oriented. So almost all of our 3,000 students are undergraduates. You're never going to have TAs teaching your courses. It's always going to be a professor. So in that regard, very much a liberal arts college. However, we are also a university, hence Wesleyan University. And so with that comes a distinct set of advantages, particularly when it comes to the funding of research. Research is a really big part of the academic experience at Wes. And what's great about being a mostly undergraduate, liberal arts college-esque school, but also university, means that we have the funding associated with those big Research One universities, but we have the opportunities geared exclusively towards our undergraduate students. So we actually have more funding from the National Science Foundation than any liberal arts college in the United States. And that is something that's going to be true across, and also research is something that's going to be true across all disciplines. So it can mean that you're working with beakers and test tubes in a lab. It could also mean that you're in the English department editing a book of poetry for your professor. And so students often come to Wesleyan because we have that best of both worlds kind of scenario, being that small to medium-ish size school and having the advantages of both small schools and larger schools. The next distinguishing feature for Wesleyan, I do want to give a special shout out to those of you who are interested in the sciences. A lot of students are drawn to Wesleyan specifically, not just for the science research opportunities, but also for a graduate opportunity as well. So I mentioned that we're about 3,000 students. The small amount of graduate students that we have here, it's about 150 or so. It's mostly all within the sciences, and you can get a master's degree in any of the STEM fields. So for us, that's biochem, physics, biochem, environmental studies, neuroscience, math, computer science. And you can get your master's degree by doing a 5th year at Wesleyan, and that 5th year is tuition free. So it's a really amazing opportunity, and you're doing it. The reason why you're able to do it in 1 year as opposed to 2, which is typical, is because you really are doing your graduate level research while you're in undergrad. So that's another big piece. I also want to mention, number 4 is that we have an incredibly strong performing arts community here at Wesleyan. And don't mind me if I'm going to do a little bit of shameless name dropping, but Lin-Manuel Miranda, the creator of Hamilton the Musical, is a very proud alum. And we've got the creators of How I Met Your Mother and Mad Men and Will and Grace, and one of the co-creators of Game of Thrones. So lots of folks really, really enthusiastic about the performing arts here. And what's great about it is the fact that it is very much integrated into the rest of the university. So you don't necessarily have to be a major or minor to be involved in the performing arts here. And I think it really just gives Wesleyan a sort of creative streak to the student body. And that's true whether you're a science person or a humanities person. And then the last big point I want to make before talking briefly about admission is that we have a really strong sense of civic engagement here at Wesleyan. The students here are very plugged into Middletown. The mayor of Middletown is actually a 2014 Wesleyan alum. So we've got a 29-year-old mayor for a city of 50,000 people. I think that's pretty cool. And we have a Center for Community Partnerships where students are leading all kinds of community service programs in the town, whether that be growing food in our local garden that goes to a local food bank and feeds our campus, or it's students who are involved in the Wesleyan Refugee Project, where you're working with refugees in our community and helping them with the challenges that they face. And so students are very worldly. They're thinking about the community around them and not just campus. And you'll see that reflected in study abroad opportunities as well. And then finally, just to touch on admission and financial aid, like my colleagues here, we operate on a holistic admission model. So that means we're really looking at a lot of different factors. It's not going to be just your GPA or just your SAT. Your academic performance is going to be the most important piece. So we want to see that you have mostly A's in a very rigorous curriculum, whether that means your school offers AP or IB courses or honors or dual enrollment classes, whatever it is that your school offers that is challenging. We hope to see you take those courses. But we also want to see that you're engaged in your community, and that can mean being in a club or organization. It can mean working a part-time job. It can mean being involved in your local religious community. Anything that you're doing outside of the classroom is going to be important to us. And also know that we're doing it with a mind to COVID, and that COVID affected everybody in different ways. So we're very cognizant of that. And for students who are applying to Wesleyan, you can apply via the Common Application or the Coalition Application. We are also a Questbridge school as well, so you're welcome to apply to Wesleyan that way. You'll also notice, I didn't mention the SAT or ACT because frankly, it slipped my mind. We're test optional here. We've been since 2014. It's not something that is a big part of our process. And honestly, your transcript's still going to be worth more than that. I don't know if you were ever taught as a child that if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. I have nothing to say about the College Board, and I'll leave it at that. And finally, just to touch on financial aid, we are completely need-based, and we do meet 100% of your demonstrated financial need. When you apply to Wesleyan and you submit your FAFSA and your CSS profile, whatever you need to make Wesleyan necessary, to make Wesleyan possible is what we are going to provide. And if you have a family income that is $120,000 a year or less, you will have no loans in your package whatsoever. If you have more than $120,000 of income, then you'll have loans on a small basis, maxing out at $19,000 for all 4 years combined. So that's Wesleyan in a nutshell, and I'm excited to take your questions.
That's awesome. Thank you all so much, each of our universities today for providing some more information about your institutions. So we do have just a few minutes, so let's, discuss a few questions. We're going to start with one question, and each of our presenters will be able to come back on with their video, and they're going to answer the question in the order that they presented. The first question: what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? We'll start with Hamilton College.
So my advice would be to enlist the help of somebody close to you. I know that we all are going to be sending you spam emails from now until the middle of March. It's going to get overwhelming. Create an account for yourself, work with a parent, a guardian to keep looking at the emails and clean out the account. It will be overwhelming, but know that we're all here to support you. My biggest advice is to reach out for help when you need it. If you feel like you're floundering and there's no hope in sight, I know that someone at any of the colleges that you speak to over the next couple of weeks would be happy to be at least a resource, and know that your college counselors can be a resource. So definitely use that life vest.
That's a great question, Danielle, and I have lots of thoughts, but I will pick one, and that is know that you all have a lot of power in this process, so own it, right? You get to choose where and if you'll visit places, you get to choose where you apply to places, and ultimately you get to choose where you end up going to college for the next 4 years. Of course, admissions offices will let you know if you are accepted or not, but that's just one piece of the puzzle. So own it, ask us questions, and use us as a resource, but y'all are going to do great.
That is a really great question. And I always try to put myself in their shoes. And I think one thing that's really important is to stay true to yourself and really, you are you, and we want to know about you. We want to know your story. And that is really true to yourself, and what it is that you want to do and pursue, and know that we're all here to support you, and you will all find your home for the next 4 years. It doesn't matter if your dream school will deny you. You will have a place to be, and that will be the home that you will hone into for the next 4 years. So
Yeah, so the best piece of advice that I could really give to each of you is don't let this process consume you, because the fact of the matter is that, who admits you, who waitlists you, who denies you, it is not a referendum on your self-worth. It's not a referendum on your ability to succeed in college, because frankly, colleges, we make admission decisions based on a whole lot of factors. Some of them don't even have to do with the individual student. And so know that you will find a school that is a best fit for you. And as a former president of our national association once said, college is a match to be made and not a prize to be won. So just keep that in mind while you're going through this process, and try to have an open mind when you're looking at colleges, and try not to be completely attached to the rankings, which their value is nil.
That is absolutely great advice. So we have time for one more question. What's one thing you want students to remember about your school? Just one thing.
Oh, that's really tough. One thing I want people to remember, I think it's a place where you can be curious. And if you have no idea what you want to study, there are so many checks and balances in place that we will assist you on figuring that out. So if you're a curious student who loves the arts and loves STEM and, possibly wants to be a business major, Hamilton is a place for you. So come curious. We tell them to stay hungry. Hamilton can feed you.
That is a tough question. I will say at UVA, I talked a little bit about student self-governance. That is truly who we are. Students really do have the power here at UVA. They are the ones that are creating new offices and making their voice heard. So if you are someone who wants to be a leader, is interested in policy, is someone who protests, you're interested in social justice, you want to make this world a better place, UVA might be a great fit for you, because we have carved a space out for students to do just that.
yes, that is a very, very hard question. I think FNM is really well known for the community-oriented faculty and staff, and just such a supportive community all around. I think that is something that we stand for, and students really see that, from the moment they step on campus, from the moment they meet us, and to really remember about FM, that you truly have that supportive community. Even after you graduate, you'll always have a home cooked meal from your professor if you're far away from home and things like that. So that's something that who we are. We're truly a family, and that's what we stand for.
That is definitely a difficult question. I would say the one thing that you should take away about Wesleyan is that the students here are brave. And when I say brave, I mean, they're not afraid to think outside the box. They're not afraid to do what is untraditional. They're not afraid to do something just because it's never been done before. There is a refreshing sense of creativity and innovation. And you can almost say a little bit of quirkiness to the Wesleyan student body that makes us who we are.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much for providing those additional information about your universities. So that is the conclusion of tonight's presentation. We thank you for joining us. When you close this link, you will be able to complete a very quick 5-question survey. So we appreciate you for providing that feedback. And we encourage you to check out the sessions for 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. You'll be able to access the recordings for this session at strivescan.com/Cristo Rey. Thank you and have a great evening.